Today we're going to discuss further the Trayon White case and how he was involved in this bribery scam, how he got caught up. And what we're going to find is that a trend here is that the PPP money seems to be a honeypot to catch a lot of unscrupulous people. The information is public. Anyone can look up and see who received PPP money. So you see someone balling out and you have an idea that they're balling out because of PPP money. It's not hard to figure out if that person has received PPP money. And in this instance, I think Trayon White has been caught up in a PPP scam and that he was taking bribes from someone who took PPP money, and that person eventually rolled on him. So let's take a look at Trayon White. This is Trayon White back a couple months ago, where he's talking about he hasn't been involved in any scams. His hands are clean. I want you to take a listen to that here.
To Trayon White in Washington. Also, man, it's been a rumor that the FBI locked me up. The FBI ran into my house. The FBI ran into my office. Whatever else is out there. I'm getting several calls since yesterday, and it's not true. And I've been outside all day yesterday. I went to a lot of meetings, was out in the community all day yesterday, and trust me, believe, if that happened to Trayon White in Washington, D.C., pro my people, I'm a Pan-African, I'm unbought and unbossed, and I'm in politics, a young black man with locks, like, it'll be all over the news. And so, you got to use some intelligence there. Know that didn't happen. And my hands clean, so I don't really worry about it. I just continue to try to do my best to be my best self and to do God's work each and every day, man. I don't steal, I don't take, I'm not, all those things they say about politicians. So, my heart is well. And so keep me in your prayers, and I'll be sure to do the same. Thank you all for serving on the front line as veterans.
That was Trayon White saying his hands are clean. He hasn't been arrested and blah, blah, blah. And these are the things he was saying just 2 months ago. And here is an image of the police entering his apartment building. You can see that here. Make sure you can see it. You can see that here. And they're going in, people. On screen here. This is the interior of his building. This is the police going into the building. He's been arrested. Very nice building. I think you'll notice that. So, as he sits waiting trial under these charges, you have to wonder, how did he get caught up? And let's take a look at the affidavit. And I think the affidavit will explain clearly that he was caught up by a guy who was caught up in basically trying to get free money. And Trayon was trying to get free money downstream from a criminal. And so here we go. Let me pull up the affidavit. I think what you'll find is amazing here. I'll share my tab. Make sure you can see it. I may need to make this a little bigger. Let me see if you can see this here. Let me make this a little bigger. There we go. All right, so as you can see here, this is the FBI affidavit for his arrest, the 2024 criminal conduct. And what you're going to see is some brazen conduct pretty much from both sides. Continuing their corrupt relationship, White in 2024 agreed to accept approximately $156,000, which I think is about 3% of what he agreed to for whatever contracts that they were going to receive this company. And the informant is CHS1. You see that in the document. It's a bribe payment number 1. On June 6, 2024, CHS1 and White met in CHS1's car, which was parked outside the apartment building where White was living. We may discuss that in this stream, or we may have to do another stream about where Trayon White apparently was living. The meeting was recorded as set forth more fully below. Offered to pay White for ascertaining the status of company's contracts with 1C. And this company and this guy is a violence interrupter. You probably have these in your inner cities, and that's what this guy supposedly is. He gets grant money to stop the violence in the neighborhood. So let's take a look. So here's a picture of Trayon White color in the car. And if you notice right behind Trayon, you see 1000. That's the address of a building. We've seen the building where he lives. So there's some allegations that he doesn't live within the ward that he serves. I'm not surprised. Why would he want to live over here if he's making that kind of money? He also drives a nice Tesla. During the meeting, White and CHS1 discussed the contracts. White told he told White that he had 15,000 for him, and he gave White an envelope containing 15,000 in cash. Initially, White stated, "What do you need me to do? I don't want to feel like you got to give me something to get something. We better than that," White said. But White put the envelope containing the money into his jacket pocket. So he accepted the next bribe. You can see that here. CHS1 and White then discusses specific tax, blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to see White was suggested to by the informant that they meet again in 2 weeks. CHS1 told White that he would be paying White for his assistance with the contract. We link up, I guess, another 2 weeks. But like I was telling you, I'm be able to keep hitting you off. You know what I mean? While saying this, CHS1 made a gesture with his hands, mimicking giving money to White. White responded, "Yeah." At this point, he's filming, taking pictures of Trayon White, so he's already an informant working for the government. He's just more or less nailing Trayon White at this point, bringing him into his snare here. White then mentioned that Ms. Trayon, that the Attorney General also runs a street violence intervention program, and you can get some of that money. He says White told CSH1 that government employee 3 was unlikely to remain a high-ranking official at Onesie. And on it goes, not to bore you. It's just more and more money talking. I think Trayon White takes $20,000, $30,000 in bribes. This may interest you in just the gutter language that these people are talking. Just not very appropriate. But yeah, I was going to say too, not very grammatically correct. I can do something like this twice a month for right now for the next 30 days, but I won't strategically work with you to and I've got other shit we can be doing too. Blah 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 blah. Here's something interesting though. Trayon White, he's just been reelected in the primary, so he says more or less, "Hey man, line up the contracts. We're gonna get more contracts because I got 4 more years." You can see that here. What I want you to start thinking about is how we get into the mental health space. And on it goes. Another bribe here. Jumped into the same car in the same apartment building outside the same building, and he discusses the 3% kickback. Additionally, White indicated that he needed money for what? Uh, and CHS went to the bank to get 5,000 in return and gave White $5,000 in cash. You can see White in the guy's car here. I mean, it's truly amazing. Um, there was one issue where White reached out to the guy saying, he needed money for his girlfriend's birthday party or something. And I'll see if I can find that for you. But it looks like they have him dead. Right here is an image of the contracts that the guy that was bribing White had with DC government. You can see them here in the dollar amounts, and the 3% of this was due to Trayon White. Um, and here's something else I want you to take a look at. And I mean, they have all of this. This is transcribed here from the video. Here's one more thing here, and I want you to let me see if I can just search for that. If I can't find it, you can't find it that way. There's one more thing. I want to see if I can find it. The issue that the guy was under bank fraud charges, and that is what caused him to flip on Trayon White. Let's see. I'm sure that here it is right here. Let's see, where can I find it? Yeah, here it is. Confidential Human Source 1 operated several businesses that contracted with the District of Columbia or received subcontracts from businesses. Those businesses he owned too, who contracted with the District of Columbia on August 9th. It's about 15 days, 12 days ago. CHS1 entered into a plea agreement with the United States whereby he agreed to plead guilty to conspiracy to commit bank fraud in violation of these laws here, and is scheduled to execute that agreement before the court. The charges to which he is pleading guilty relate to fraudulent loans he obtained through the federal government's Paycheck Protection Program. As part of that agreement, he agreed to cooperate with law enforcement. Part of his cooperation included disclosing other prior criminal contact in which he had participated. In the course of his cooperation, CHS-1 reported a corrupt relationship with White, and that is what ensnared White right there. And that is why it would be very difficult for him to beat this criminal case. It's a lesson to all criminals or people who are tempted to go out and get what they consider to be free money from the government. If you engage in this and somewhere downstream there's someone committing criminal acts or upstream from you, you could be ensnared in a criminal conspiracy as this guy White was. White likely could have gotten away with the bribes if the guy wasn't dirty. It probably happens all the time, and I imagine that many a politician in D.C. and all over the country are shaking in their boots by the prospect of being arrested, similar to Trayon White, in that if the government comes for someone with some fraudulent PPP loans, he's likely to roll on some weak politician. Anyway, I thought that was interesting in that how Trayon White was brought down by bank fraud charges of someone else related to the PPP loans. It's a lesson in that, you guys. All right, thank you for joining.